Hi. Here's my ghost story. The very first house I ever bought was in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. It was a little Cape style house on 2 acres on a dirt road, and it was surrounded by dairy farms. One of these farms was enormous. It was like 160 acres or something crazy like that. But my ex and I bought this house. She had two sons, and the first fall we were there, I had a day off, like in the middle of the week, and the kids were off at school. She was at work. It was late fall. There was frost on the ground that I remember. And I remember sitting in my living room, which was kind of like in the back of the house. There was two entrances to it. The classic Cape style house has this entrance on the front, usually between two windows, and there's like dormers above. And then on the side of the house, which actually faced the road, there was another entrance that led into the kitchen. We used that primarily for our main entrance. But anyway, this house was well over 100 years old, had been somewhat renovated. The door sills had been replaced, the window sills had been replaced. And cosmetically, it looked pretty good. So one day, I'm home alone on this one day. Maybe 10:30 in the morning. I was just being lazy, sitting around with my coffee. And the house also had like an L-shaped wraparound deck on it. And I heard somebody come up on the deck, open the kitchen door, and walk in. And I just assumed it might have been my mom or a friend of mine. I'm like, hey, I'm back here. Who is it? Nothing. Nothing. Dead silence. Now, let me tell you, my first feeling was not that this was a ghost, but that because this was in an isolated area, and I thought that it was an intruder. So I just sat there very quiet and I listened. I didn't hear much, and I started getting very, very nervous. I thought maybe I had surprised a burglar. Because at the time, we only had one car. There was no car in the driveway. And, hey, they makes sense, right? Somebody assumed no one's home. They didn't see any lights on, I'm in the back of the house. So I sat there scared out of my mind. I'm not sure how long it was. It might have been 10 minutes. It might have been 20 minutes. But it felt like forever. And I remember there being this little container of fake marble coasters nearby. That was the only thing I had that I could have used as a weapon to defend myself. And then I finally got up the courage to walk out to the kitchen. And not only was the door not open, because I never heard it close, there was nothing out there. So that was my first indication that something was a little different about my house. And then over time, other things started happening. Little objects would just disappear for no reason at all and reappear in places where we would never leave them. The electric. Whoever this was, and I'm assuming it is the previous owner because years later I found out more about him. The lights would go on and off, like right in this, for no reason. The volume on the TV would go up periodically, or like on the sound system, it would get really, 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 really loud. And no one's like messing with it or anything. And it was very common at dinner time, and many people saw this. Guests in my home, my family at the time. You would be just getting ready to sit down and eat dinner in the kitchen, and that kitchen door would just swing wide open. And you have to understand that it was, like I said, the door sills, window sills were all replaced. This had a really good airtight seal. You had to, use some kind of effort to open it. And then periodically you would hear, if you were in another part of the house, you would hear someone wandering around in that kitchen. It sounded like they were searching for something they had lost, which is Very, very bizarre. One day, my ex and I, we were upstairs in the master bedroom. We were like cleaning and making the bed, and I remember we were having kind of like a heated discussion about something. And all of a sudden, the radio in the room, which, it was just like one of those little sport radios that you bring to the beach. It didn't have like an alarm on it or anything like that. Nothing you could set. It comes on. And we didn't really notice it because, we were in this discussion, and all of a sudden the volume starts getting louder, and it literally drowned us out. So whoever this ghost is just wanted us to shut up, basically. Didn't want to hear it. So here's one that really blew my mind. One night, this was a school night, and like a Wednesday or Thursday night, I was home with my ex's youngest son. He was probably 10, 12 years old at the time. And then her oldest son had play practice after school. So, again, a lot of this happened in the fall. So this was fall, late afternoon to early evening-ish, sometime between 5 and 7. It's really dark outside. And so she was going to leave work and go pick up her older son. Meanwhile, the younger son and I were upstairs in the master bedroom, and we're just, talking and watching TV. And all of a sudden, we hear the kitchen door open. And he had never heard this before. And I made the assumption that they had just gotten home, And I got up and I walked across the hallway to their bedroom, because the window to their bedroom overlooked the road. There was nobody out there. There was no car, nothing. And I came back across the hallway, and he was scared out of his mind. He was like crouched in the corner of the bedroom just listening. And I said, this is it. And we sat there for 15, 20 minutes, and we heard somebody walking all around the kitchen. It sounded like they were opening drawers and cabinets and rummaging and searching for something. And again, you never heard the kitchen door close. So, his mother finally gets home. We told her what happened. This kid's face was the color of newsprint. He was so scared. Absolutely so scared. I think it was around 1996. This house burned in the middle of the night in February, around 2, 3 in the morning. We all got out. The cause of the fire was not determined. They know where it began. They just don't know what ignited it. But while we were building our new house, the man at the end of the road, there was only one other house on our road, he used to own that piece of property. And he had purchased it from the man who owned the house that I lived in. So he would drive by periodically and stop and say hello or whatever, because we would be up there sometimes checking to see what's going on when the new house is being built and things. And one day he stopped and he got out, and he got right out of his truck, and he came over and was talking to us. And I said, Victor, I said, are you aware of the fact that house, that original house, was haunted? And it looked like someone drove a stake through his heart, and he just looked at the ground and said, I don't even want to talk about it. Now, the most rational people would go, oh yeah, whatever, but he knew. So that's part one of the story. There's more to it.